Hello and welcome to day 5, our final day of this nervous system mini course for the Healing Happens community. I'm so excited to be here sharing with you for one last day for now. So we're going to get started in the way that we always do, a little pranayama practice, and then we'll do a little bit of sensation tracking, and then we will move into the lesson for today. So today we're going to practice a technique called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. And so for this one, you will need your hand. So you can start with your eyes open to watch me. So you're gonna take your right hand and you're gonna place your two peace sign fingers, so the middle finger and the index finger, right here on your third eye, kind of in the center of your forehead. And then for this practice, you'll use your right thumb to operate your right nostril and your ring finger to operate your left nostril. And so for this one, we will alternate. So you'll inhale through the left nostril, exhale through the right, inhale through the right, exhale through the left. That's one full round, and then we'll continue on. So I'll guide you through it at the beginning, and then I'll leave you to it for a little bit on your own. This practice has a balancing effect. So we are balancing the right and left hemispheres of the brain, the yin and the yang energy, the masculine and the feminine, the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, all of the above. So here we go. So start with your posture. You don't have to go too crazy, but lengthen your spine as much as you can. Feel the support of the earth underneath your sit bones. Feel the crown of your head lengthening up towards the sky. And then take your right hand, take your two peace sign fingers, place them here on your third eye. And then to begin, we'll open both nostrils and take a deep inhale in. Exhale it out. Close the right nostril, inhale left. Close the left nostril, exhale right. Inhale right. Switch at the top, open the left, exhale. Inhale left. Close the left, open right, exhale right. Inhale right. Switch, exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Keep going without my guidance. Inhale left. And continue on. Switching at the top of the inhale. And just notice how it feels to breathe in this way. Really become aware of the way the breath feels as it enters your system. And notice there's a tendency in this one to collapse in the chest as your arm gets tired, but keep the chest open, the shoulders back, the arm strong, but not rigid. And then finish the round that you're on and complete 2 more full rounds. And you'll know when you're done because you'll exit or you'll exhale out the left side for the last round. And just take a moment to sit in the medicine of that practice and notice what came up for you, what may have shifted as a result of that practice. And just take a moment to tune in to your body and ask, what are you feeling inside? There's a specific sensation that's present, just notice it. Notice where it is in your body and what the specific sensation is. Just feel into that completely. And now notice if there's an area of your body that feels different than that. Doesn't have to be better or worse, just different. And tune into that area for a moment. And then if your awareness gets pulled back to the first area of sensation, let that happen. Allow it to be fluid. And then tuck your chin down slightly, blink your eyes open. And gaze around your space. Orienting yourself back into the room that you're in. Bring your awareness back to the screen. Okay. Hello, hello. Today we are going to talk about building capacity in the nervous system, which is one of my absolute favorite topics because in addition to what we discussed yesterday, which is regulation, that healthy up and down regulation of the system, the restoration of the rhythm of, sympathetic activation and parasympathetic activation. In addition to that regulation, in my opinion, capacity really is the whole goal of healing and, nervous system work. And so capacity in this context is defined as the ability to hold a wide range of experiences, which, spoiler alert, is life, without collapsing. So what I mean by this is essentially you have a large window of tolerance. So as this up and down regulation is happening as you're experiencing these waves of sympathetic, sympathetic activation, parasympathetic activation, etc. As you're experiencing these waves, the size of your window of tolerance is really going to determine how big these waves can be without you collapsing, freaking out, freezing, losing it, etc. So the larger our window of tolerance is, the greater the fluctuations we can handle. Now, of course, the intention isn't to grow your window of tolerance so you can be like up and down and up and down and up and down all day long and still be okay. You know, we still want to have this smooth transition, but the greater our capacity is, the more we can handle in real time. And I was sharing about this yesterday on Instagram, you know, that one definition of trauma is too much, too fast. So something happens to you that overwhelms your system and you are unable to metabolize that experience and work it through your system in real time. So two different people can live through a car accident, for example, be in the same car in the same place. And one of them, who has greater capacity in their system, may not be actually traumatized by that accident. Like, yes, the initial experience is intense and threatening and, you know, elicits a trauma response. But if you have a large capacity in your system and you're able to metabolize that experience in real time, you are not going to develop PTSD as a result of that experience. Now, someone else in the very same car who has lower capacity, smaller window of tolerance, doesn't have a robust and resilient nervous system, they may experience PTSD from that accident because of their inability to metabolize that experience in real time. So the greater our capacity is, the better able we are to essentially process trauma while it's happening. And then we don't store it in our systems, and we don't develop PTSD, and we don't develop all these maladaptive coping mechanisms to deal with that experience because we simply dealt with it in the moment while it was happening. And so building capacity is what leads to having a robust and resilient nervous system, which is really the key to navigating life. Traumatic experiences, intense experiences, you know, feeling threatened, all these kinds of things are inevitable. You know, we live in a world that is throwing things at us constantly. And so the greater our capacity is, the better able we are to navigate the challenges of life while staying in our window of tolerance and keeping our system pretty regulated, experiencing these smooth cycles of up and down regulation, up and down activation. And so this is where titration and pendulation come in. So the nervous system responds best to titration when it comes to healing. Well, anything really, but we're going to talk about it in the context of healing here. So titration may be a term that you're familiar with if you ever took like a high school chemistry class. So the principle is that, you know, if you pour this chemical into this chemical all the way quickly, it would explode. But if you take your little pipette and you know, take a few drops of this chemical and add it like one drop at a time and give the, you know, the suspension or the concoction that you're trying to create time to settle, time to mix, you know, the substance diffuses slowly, then you don't get the same explosion, even if you're adding the same amount of the chemical. And the same is true here with the nervous system. So if trauma is defined as too much too fast, we don't want to bring that kind of energy into our healing. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. You know, this is, you know, I'm an advocate for whatever works. You know, if you are big into super cathartic healing experiences. There are modalities that are very powerful for that. Plant medicines are these, big, profound, intense, kind of blow the doors off the system experiences. But that can actually be quite dangerous to the nervous system if you haven't done this slow, titrated work and learned how to regulate yourself while staying within your window of tolerance, or just going a little bit outside at a time. And if you haven't built that capacity and that robustness in the system. So the idea is that, if you start healing with a capacity that's this big, we want to take you just outside your window of tolerance, like just a tiny little bit. And so that your system can practice regulating at that capacity. And then once you're able to do that, your window of tolerance expands a little bit. And so, you're able to stay more regulated through a wider range of experiences. And then maybe in your next session, we take you here and you learn how to regulate just outside your capacity once again. And so your window of tolerance grows. So the idea here is that we are incrementally exposing you to stimuli that are a little bit outside of your window of tolerance, but not too much, to see if your body can regulate at that level. And if not, we can bring you right back. And then slowly over time, incrementally through titration, we expose you to these, traumatic stimuli over time. Your window of tolerance grows over time. Your ability to experience greater waves of sympathetic and parasympathetic activation increases, and your window, while staying in your window of tolerance. So titration is super important. This is also where we use things like pendulation. So pendulation comes from the word pendulum. The pendulum swings equal parts this way, equal distance this way, this way, this way, this way. And so this idea of like moving from one sensation to another, or moving from one experience to another, is key in the healing process. So today, for example, I had you look for a sensation in your body. And then I asked you if there was somewhere in your body that felt different than that. And so in this way, we pendulate between the initial sensation and the different sensation. And then often our attention will be called back to the initial sensation and we move it back to the different sensation. And so we move back and forth between these things. In the healing process, and this is where resourcing comes in. So as we are, titrating and incrementally expanding your window of tolerance, we'll bring you into what's something maybe traumatic, and then bring you out to a resource that is soothing and comforting to the system, so that you can experience these cycles of sympathetic activation when you're exposed to the trauma, and then parasympathetic activation when you're exposed to the resource. And so we move between these things little by little, always coming back to the resource, and then going back in, out, slowly. But ultimately, building capacity is pretty much the most important thing that you can do for yourself, because everything that you desire in life is going to require that you stretch your capacity beyond what you could previously hold. So if you desire calling in a beautiful romantic partner, if you desire growing your business to 6 figures, if you desire more patience and tolerance with your children, if you desire, just more regulation and peace in your life, this all requires stretching your capacity to be able to hold these new experiences. Because for those of us who grew up in traumatic or chaotic environments, which is most of us, even though our parents did the best that they could and they loved us, unless they had done their own healing work, a lot of these patterns were imprinted onto us and passed down to us from early childhood during those first 7 years. And so we are oftentimes, when we are creating the life we desire, we don't have a blueprint for it within our bodies. We have the capacity to hold what we know, but we have to stretch our capacity to hold the unknown, to hold what is new, to hold what is novel and different. And until we do this foundational nervous system work, none of those other things that we desire are going to be able to come to us because we can't hold them. We don't have the capacity, we don't know how. And so not only do we have to stretch our capacity to be able to metabolize our traumatic experiences from the past, which is the first step, and that's what we do in healing, but capacity is important walking into the future so that we can claim the life that we desire for ourselves. And this is done through titration, incrementally, going in a little bit, coming out to something soothing in this process of pendulation. And over time, our window of tolerance grows, and our ability to navigate these ups and downs of life and these ups and downs within our system grows. And so we can stay regulated through increasingly challenging or triggering experiences in our lives, which is the key. We want to be able to stay regulated and stay within our window of tolerance as often as we can. And so it's important to grow that window of tolerance so that it's nice and big, so that even, just little everyday triggers and inconveniences don't throw us into dysregulation. So that is all for today. I just announced today my brand new Nervous System Ninjas course. I love this name for it because ninjas just have this mastery. They're agile, they're able to, duck and dodge and move and just navigate, fight and challenge so beautifully. And that really is what it is like to become a master of your nervous system. You become this ninja-like being who can navigate the highs and lows of everything that life throws at you. And so this is a 4-week foundational educational course about the nervous system. The nervous system truly is like the operating system of our bodies and our lives. And most of us know very little about this system, even though it touches every single aspect of our lives. So I'm excited to share this new course with you. There is an early bird discount available to members of the Healing Happens community if you use it before Tuesday. There are payment plans available, and I'm so excited to dive really deep into nervous system education so that you can build a really solid foundation of knowledge for your healing journey, and you can be super empowered as you walk this path of healing by knowing how your system functions, how it developed, why it's important to build capacity, exactly how to do that, and much, much more. So if you enjoyed this intro course, check out Nervous System Ninjas. It's definitely for you. And we start on November 29th, and I'm excited to see you there. All right. Feel free to hop on over to the Facebook group for any day 5 digestion questions, insights, anything like this. And I'm excited to connect with you there. Mwah.